Procurement is the acquisition of products, services and works, and social procurement is doing this intentionally to generate positive outcomes. There obviously needs to be some changes in the way procurement is done. First of all, we need to keep in mind that social procurement is all about delivering positive impact through the procurement process. There's a couple of main ways that this can be achieved. First of all, you can directly engage with impact-led suppliers such as social enterprises or Māori and Pacifica owned enterprises or community enterprises and procure goods and products and services from these types of organisations. Or there's the indirect mechanism, which is where you work with your existing suppliers and encourage them to build impact into what they do, or to use these impact-led suppliers in their supply chain. Why is impact fundamental to social procurement? Well, really, impact is what we're trying to achieve by adopting social procurement. The key thing around impact is that no matter how you do procurement, some form of impact is generated. What we're trying to do here is intentionally generate positive impact and look for those opportunities to do that, whether that's by using impact-led suppliers or changing the way procurement's done to generate those outcomes. What needs to change in social procurement? If we consider the two parties involved in procurement, the buyers and suppliers separately, this gives us a good framework to consider these changes. First of all, let's start with the buyers. For buyers, the most primary thing that needs to change is what is valued through procurement. Traditionally, procurement has concentrated on aspects such as price, quality and risk as a measure of how well procurement's achieved. And there's been a very strong financial driver to procurement, and that's where value for money comes in. Social procurement is not saying that those things aren't important. It's about expanding the definition of value to include other aspects, such as the outcomes that could be generated through thinking about social procurement. And those outcomes could be social, environmental, cultural and economic. So really, there's a fundamental shift in how value that is considered that is required. To achieve this, there's a couple of things. One is, need to change the mindset that goes into procurement, and then that needs to be reflected in the procurement life cycle all the way through, from the planning to the implementation to the management of a contract afterwards. For a supplier, social procurement is about creating new market opportunities that may not have been available to a lot of suppliers previously, such as social enterprises or Māori and Pacifica enterprises. These market opportunities and creating this demand also means that these suppliers need to be able to respond to those opportunities. There are a lot of challenges that are associated in social procurement with the interaction between a big organisation and a small organisation, because a lot of these businesses are small organisations. But there are also other things to consider around readiness. There's aspects such as understanding who your clients are, what services you're providing, and also being able to tell your impact story. So this is where readiness comes in, and this is the intention of things like certification to help organisations be ready to meet these opportunities. What is the social procurement opportunity for Aotearoa New Zealand? In New Zealand, businesses spend a significant amount of money every year in the order of $600 billion. Government spends in the order of $40 to $50 billion, and local government spends around $10 billion. Social procurement is about how do we harness that expenditure to deliver positive outcomes and positive impact. Aotearoa New Zealand is on a social procurement journey like many other countries around the world. All these countries are grappling with how to do this, where it fits, and what can be achieved using social procurement. And there's lots of different ways and methods that are being employed and tested and trialled. So the same is happening in New Zealand. We're really exploring how this fits into the systems that we have and how people do things in New Zealand. So we're no different to other countries, but it's an exciting opportunity. In Aotearoa New Zealand, like many other countries, there are organisations that exist to help social procurement happen. We have intermediary organisations such as Ākina and our Forward program, and Amatai, who work with Māori and Pacifica business, that are there to help connect and broker opportunities in social procurement with both buyers and suppliers. Things like certification of suppliers is a really great help as a mark of respect to these suppliers and to identify them so that they can respond to these market opportunities. And we're here to help buyers create those market opportunities and match those two things together. Is social procurement a new thing in Aotearoa New Zealand? It isn't. It's been going on for a while. We have many organisations such as social enterprises that have been trading, been involved in procurement and been delivering products and services to other organisations for a long period of time. However, this has probably not been recognised, and in particular the value that's being generated through those interactions and the impact isn't being captured. So these organisations effectively fly under the radar. What we are seeing now is a more intentional shift in procurement to look for these organisations and some really innovative ways of creating market opportunities or providing specific opportunities to these types of organisations in procurement. So how do we realise this great opportunity for social procurement in New Zealand? It's really about continuing this shift, and there's three things. First of all, keep growing and finding opportunities to implement social procurement, realistic opportunities in the way money is spent. The second thing is about keep pushing and looking for changes in the way procurement is done to incorporate this broader definition of value. And the third thing is to start to think differently about how we support suppliers to meet those opportunities and start to provide more support right the way through the procurement process. This is what Ākina's Forward program and our certification is here to help with.